to connect at least two worlds, to connect people, to connect communities, to connect faiths.
A commitment to the long-term process of changing the climate of Christian-Muslim communication.
To foster mutual understanding between Christians and Muslims.
In view of living as good neighbors, in view of decreasing tensions that exist, in view of demystifying some of the myths about each other.
I think it was after the second of the convenings. At this point, there was a transition in leadership, and Archbishop Rowan Williams was now the Archbishop of Canterbury, and I think he saw what it was that Archbishop Carey had convened and viewed that as an incredible structure to be able to facilitate his own vision of his own leadership as Archbishop of Canterbury.
A suggestion was made that the Archbishop might lead, convene a process of specifically theological dialogue.
Creating a context where scholars, Muslim scholars, Christian scholars, could come together in that spirit of scholarship. Imagine new structures that would enable us to accomplish this kind of work of deepening our understanding of one another. Archbishop Williams was retiring as Archbishop. He asked us if we might be able to provide a kind of permanent structure to hold the dialogue together.
Because he recognized after his years with it that this was a process, and it was a community of scholars that had over those years it had gelled and cohered, and that the process could go on, whether it was run from Lambeth Palace or not.
So Georgetown became the steward of the project.
What I think makes, in my experience, the Building Bridges seminar unique is the sustained commitment.
It isn't about a big show, but it is about a consistent series of consultations and standing in witness to one another over time.
It's a small initiative, and I think some of these things must be small in order for them to be deep.
It is possibly that connectivity at the smaller micro level that helps to change hearts and minds in the long run.
It's different from your typical academic conference because we really do connect as friends, learning how to disagree well, to find common ground well.
In Islamic tradition, we have something that that comes to my mind when I think of this longevity of this experience. They say one of the signs of sincerity is longevity, is perseverance. And if that is of any wisdom, then I think 18 years of Building Bridges seminars says something about those who convene and those who attend and those who participate.
Archbishop Williams made a decision early on that it would be a meeting principally for academics.
But that also there needed to be a process of addressing the actual core beliefs.
And always with the text as the space of focus.
So grounding it in the deepest parts of the tradition for both Muslims and Christians is important.
A comparative approach which show that we have differences, but we can think about it theologically.
We're looking for theologies which which take the other's questions seriously, but doesn't give up on its own tradition.
It's always been intended to be a dialogue not just of scholars, but of scholar believers.
It's not typical in academia to be asked to reveal your religious commitments. In the Building Bridges seminar, it's just routine, it's expected. We don't make a big deal about it. It's just assumed that everybody there is a practitioner of one of the two religions at the table.
This is the space where I can still believe, and I believe that it is okay to believe.
It's unique in the sense that it's not a conference with a lot of stuff going on from the main stage.
And even those private ones being broken down into small groups.
And it's also within 1 week, you have the opportunity to get to know the other person, not just his or her as scholarly work, but also the circumstances in which he or she works. And that also helps to understand each other better.
This is not so much about coming and listening to just one person about a particular topic. This is a whole lot of people from very different backgrounds, although they are Muslim and Christian, coming together and looking at one particular issue or a text from all these different perspectives.
I would see it like being in one pot, like cooking in one pot. So in this pot, there's different ingredients you put in the pot, but you are coming out with a meal that people will share, a meal that people will enjoy, a meal that will nourish the people, a meal that will grow people.
I like to talk about the theological kitchen. When you have visitors who come to your house, they're the ones you keep in the parlor, and then the others to whom you can say, come back into the kitchen, and there are dirty dishes around, you're still cooking, and we're in each other's theological kitchens. We're seeing the processes by which we arrive at our statements of faith.
We're not just showing our shiny faces to each other. Divisions among Christians as well as among Muslims are also in view.
An important piece here is after you spend a week with your colleagues in meetings all day, but also having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and going for walks and talking here and there, that real friendships emerge. And it's in the process of these friendships that you find you're able to enter in the discussions more deeply and more seriously.
When you're around the lunch table, you're dealing with human text, the human document, us. So these so-called non-formal conversations bring to life a lot of the things that we discussed in the classroom, if I may put it that way, and then around the table.
Mutual theological hospitality. It's an openness to the other, an openness to another that disagrees with you. It's an openness to another belonging to a tradition with which you've been at odds for at least 1,500 years.
I think we tend to think that hospitality always means people are going to come and be very grateful for your hospitality. And the truth of the matter is that when you're hospitable, you open yourself, including to folks who may not be terribly kind. And I think that's the real test of hospitality. So a theological hospitality to me is that willingness to be self-critical in a way that might seriously question the premises, but as long as it is respectful, I think we stand to learn a great deal.
When you see how others do their theology, how they struggle, what they do, how they accommodate, how they face challenges, then that's really encouraging. And I tell you, I do get encouraged every time I come from a meeting like this. I have hope for a better future.
It's been, I think, an honor for everybody who's ever participated to be engaged in it. And for us, it's enabled us to show what it is a university can do and can be in sustaining this kind of work?
It's a very spiritual experience. And that's why it's very precious for me.
It's a gift, I think, a gift that Building Bridges gives to all of us, and a gift that God gives us.